Well, hello everyone and welcome to Wales Mails Walk and Talk number 6. Number 6, can you believe it? My word, the time is flying in. I hope you're all well and staying safe out there, because that's all we can do. And, I hope, before I start this audio walk, or this virtual audio walk actually, because I enjoyed that last week. It was really, really good. And I hope you guys are getting something out of it as well. Which brings me into what I was going to ask. Are you guys enjoying what you're hearing? Because I'm trying to just make sure I'm delivering the right thing for you guys and for everybody else listening. I always think it's important to double check with the listeners that they're happy, and also what other content would you like me to add to this? So that being said, shall we start our sixth audio walk? Let's do it. So again, I'm on a virtual walk. I am in Edinburgh, somewhere in Edinburgh, and I'm going to start giving you a clue. Okay, let's start our little journey. So behind me is a lovely big house where royalty stay. It's been around for a very, very long time, and behind the house is a very large park. And next to that park, kinda across the road, is an old, extinct volcano. Now the volcano actually, or the hill, is called Arthur's Seat. It reaches a height of, I believe it's 822 feet, which doesn't actually seem a lot, but if you've ever climbed it, depending on which route you take, it can be a wee bit exhausting, wouldn't you agree? I think it's because maybe I'm feeling a tad unfit, and it's been a long time since I climbed up Arthur's Seat. Okay. So I have a lovely big house behind me. To the left is Arthur's Seat, and in front of me is a long hill, essentially. The mile that I'm about to walk up, very steeply, is actually longer than a mile. So there we go. So where am I just now? So I'm still walking up so I'm starting at the foot of this road, which I'm sure you've gathered what the name of it is by now. And I see a relatively, last 15 years or so, 20 years, relatively newish kind of building to my left-hand side. And that's where our government is essentially run from. Well, there's many offices, there is government buildings across Edinburgh, but that is where it holds the Scottish Parliament. Now, I believe before the Parliament was built, there used to be an old distillery, a whiskey distillery, if you like, because there is a natural spring within, now the Scottish Parliament, there's a natural spring within said whiskey distillery, or drinks distillery, which helped massively with the distilling of the alcohol, because the water was fresh as a daisy. And either side of me, as I walk up, anybody who's walked up the street will be aware that the shops they're lovely wee shops actually. They're quite narrow fronted, but they go quite far back because that's part of the Edinburgh Old Town, and the lovely, beautiful buildings that are built up this road is gorgeous. So there's many, many, many woolen shops where we can buy basically touristy things. So tartan caps, see you Jimmy hats, Edinburgh Castle Rock, which is very, very nice. No good for your teeth, but very, very nice. And everything else, and it can be quite a noisy wee place, especially, all year round. Not at the moment due to the lockdown and restrictions. It is still a wee bit busy, but if you think of during August, or normal Augusts, what would be like during the Edinburgh Festival, because anybody who lives in Edinburgh knows that in the Edinburgh Festival can get extremely busy, and I believe the population of Edinburgh during the Edinburgh Festival in August, it more than doubles, which is huge, which is absolutely fascinating. In fact, I know people who live in Edinburgh but move or go on holiday in the whole of August, so they don't have to, do what they need to do to get through crowds. And they sometimes rent out their house like an Airbnb in that time, which is actually, I think, a really, really good idea. But anyway, I do digress. Further on, walking up the road, and the road is cobbles. So these roads are cobbles, they're original cobbles from a long, long time ago. Edinburgh Council has tarmacked over a lot of the cobbles, and what happens when you tarmac over the cobbles, over time the tarmac does break up and the cobbles start coming through. Personally, I like seeing the cobbles coming through, but anybody who's walked on cobbles in the rain or the snow or any kind of wet surface, wet weather, which we got a lot in Edinburgh, will know it can be a wee bit dangerous and hazardous, so watch what you're doing out there. You know what I'd like to do, actually, is I'd like to be a tourist in Edinburgh for a day, because living in Edinburgh for pretty much all my life, 42 years, you kind of, I think that's what happens when you live in any big city or town. You kind of forget what's around you. And I've touched upon this on different audio walks that we've done. I think audio walk 1 and 2 we spoke about this. Is take time out and explore your city, your town, and look up. When you're walking along, you slow your walk, look up, and there's things written on the side of the buildings. There's plaques. I think they're called ghost. Now, what are they called? The name it leaves me now, but ghost sign writing or something like that. So it's essentially what was written on shop fronts a long, long time ago, but of course they've been covered up with wooden signs or whatever. And of course these signs back in the day were often painted on the side of the buildings onto the masonry, so that is still there, so it's fabulous, especially you walk through different parts of Edinburgh. So we're kind of approaching now what I would call halfway, so we're about to cross over almost like a kind of junction, so we're going up the mile. We are about to walk over North Bridge now. That's where our journey last week started, wasn't it? I walked down North Bridge and left onto Princess Street and along that way. So this time we are walking uphill still over the junction, and it's another busy wee intersection. But on the left hand side we have the Tron Kirk, which I remember, it's a great venue for during the Edinburgh Festival, of course, but I remember, I think in the 70s, 80s, it used to be almost like the hub for Hogmanay, before things got huge, well before COVID, of course, for the Hogmanay celebrations, was the Tron. Such a beautiful, beautiful building. If you ever get a chance, go in there. It is gorgeous. Okay, I'm going further up towards the castle now, and it's almost that time where, cause I don't think I captured it last week on the audio walk, where the 1 o'clock gun goes off at, guess what? At 1 o'clock. Yes. Let's race up to try and get there for 1 o'clock. And it starts getting a wee bit steeper now, and the final hurdle, if you like, Edinburgh Castle. We have arrived on Edinburgh Castle Esplanade, and it's the time of year where there's no seating put up on the Esplanade, also for the tattoo that happens every August, and also we have concerts at the Edinburgh Castle as well. So I'm going to walk to the right hand side just now and look over the Forth. So below me we've got Princess Street Gardens, of course, that I was sitting in last week at last week's audio walk at the Ross Bandstand with the squeaky gate, and north of that I can see North Edinburgh over the River Forth over to the Kingdom of Fife. Now this is the part that I'm usually, when I come to Edinburgh Castle, I forget to look over the back of the castle, which is a bit weird, I think, but however, I can't forget it's there. So what do I see? I see the Pentlands actually in the foreground, in the background, right, the very, very, very back. And what else do I see? I see the grass market right below me. But the first thing that I notice is the sheer drop right behind the wall, which of course this is a castle. It's the esplanade to the castle, and it was a great way of defending the castle and keeping the baddies out, because that's what castles are all about, I believe, and to house kings and queens and princes and princesses. Well, I think what I'm going to do now is, because I've ended our walk, I might end with a little ice cream, because there's always a wee ice cream van on the esplanade, and it's been there for as long as I could remember. Who wants to join me for an ice cream? Shall we all go for one? Go on then. I think I'll have a 99 with some strawberry sauce over. Oh, that sounds amazing. Thank you for joining me again on Audio Walks. I do love your company, and I hope you enjoy what I'm talking about, walking up and down. Well, today it was the Royal Mile. I'm sure you guessed that. Okay, I'm going to go and finish my ice cream now, and thank you for joining me, and I look forward to being with you and seeing you all next week. Take care out there, folks. Bye.